NACON has got a serious big problem. Things don't look like they're changing just yet, but with Season 3 now just days away, are we about to see this huge issue in Test Drive Unlimited sorted, or is it going to be much the same? We're going to get into it all and more in today's video, but first of all we're going to focus in on what we have in front of us, the Lamborghini Huracan Performante, and of course last week's live weekly event, the last live weekly event of Season 2. And it was quite a competitive one, let's be honest. There's some very good times on the leaderboard, there's some very good races that we did indeed have. And we're going to revisit one of these races in particular today, highlight how good that race was, but also highlight this huge issue that NACON must fix. Let's head on over to rocking the boat, the Grand Tourer Supercar Hypercar Race 700 to 800 RP. It's a 4.4 mile domination clear asphalt race. Now this highlights the good and the bad in Test Drive Unlimited. We're going to dive into all and more. First of all, heading over to the leaderboard, GR Picuvius, Asa Yunon topping out the leaderboard with sensationals, 2 minute 14, 2 minute 15 in the hypercar category. Lotus Evija was of course the weapon of choice. But in today's video I'm going to focus in on the supercar class. We can see Jurek, never pronounce your name, apologies, with a 227 in the Huracan Performante Fluoro Edition. A stellar time that he did manage to set that 227. My only time on the leaderboard, that one only attempt we did in the F-Type Jaguar 241 must be improved on. We can see the Huracan again from on Quattro with the 233.99. Another F-Type actually, the Flow with a 234, another Lamborghini a 236, another 236. We can see that the Huracan Performante is pretty much going to be OP for this race. We're coming back into it to see how fast we can get. Realistically, I want to try and target up towards that 233 time. Then we can maybe make some inroads towards that 227 set by Jurek in the Huracan Fluoro capsule. But yeah, the target, like I said, I'm going to target out up towards that 233.99 time to see if we can match it, beat it, or is that realistically going to be the time that, you know, we're going to struggle to get up against and up towards the top of the leaderboard. We're never going to look up towards there in the supercar with that Evija being as OP as it truly is. Now of course we're going to kick it off with the Dubai Police liveried Huracan Performante. The issue I'm talking about isn't the light glitch coming into races. This is one thing that does need change. We should be able to select whether or not we have our lights on for the race. There is a little glitch flicking your lights coming into it. Sometimes your lights will manage to stay on. But let's get into the action, let's get into the race. In the Performante, we can see this thing is far quicker, far more capable than the time I did set in the F-Type Jaguar. Coming downhill here, already topping out. You guys would have noticed in the previous Huracan video why I've got this short gearbox fitted. It's for this race in particular. I don't feel like we need long ratios for this race. So coming down the very first section, we can see we were topping out the gearbox. Cutting across the track here does seem to be a lot quicker. Maybe not making the best of efforts cutting across the little hedgeway there, but we'll persist, we'll push forward, round a couple of right-handers there. I do tend to stay to the right-hand side, not taking out the railings. I feel like I lose too much time crashing through those railings in the central reservation, using those railings there tactically to slow us down in time for the corner. Push underneath the little building here, sticking to the right hand side, using the little pathway here, let the back end flow round, and we can push back up through that gearbox once again. I feel that the short gearbox is OP here, getting us up to speed as quickly as we possibly can, in through the little tricky city section just here, into that little alleyway, and things start to get really tight, really tricky. Lots of street furniture in that little part of the track there as we come out of it, pushing uphill. It seems to be a clean enough race so far. Maybe not in the right racing line for this right-hander, but again we've came around it relatively unscathed. It feels like we're putting together a fairly decent lap so far. The back end just stepping out there, that was maybe a bit of a critical loss that we had right there, the back end stepping out. But again, we'll persist, we'll push forward. Round this flowing section is a fantastic part of this race, braking just in time to keep ourselves off of those right-hand barriers just there. And then we get through this section, again out-braking myself, carrying in just a little bit too much speed, but overall it feels like we're putting together a fairly good lap, cutting it in nice and tight to the tree, onto the left-hand pathway just here, lifting off a little bit to get that back end under control. And from here on out, we're going to try and be foot to the floor up until that last left-hand turn. Around this little section here, it does get a little bit tighter. We could be a little bit quicker, but this is all the improvement that we want to be making. We want to come and set that benchmark into a heavy braking zone, left-hander, little touch on the handbrake to get the back end flowing around here as we push up left-hander through the right-hander, last little left-hander, and now it's foot flat to the floor to cross the finish line in attempt number 1 there in the Huracan Performante. What kind of time did we manage to set? Well, already a 2-minute 33.06, so target number 1 has already been achieved. We've managed to take out that 2:33.99. Quite happy with the 2:33.06, but as we can see higher up in the leaderboard, there's also a 2:27. So let's go back, let's build the Huracan a bit better, let's play with the tune, perhaps play with the parts. I feel like the parts were fitted correctly, it's the tune. Can we target a 2:27 on this leaderboard? Going to spend quite a bit of time here, off camera of course, building this thing as quickly as I can make it to see if we can actually make a valiant attempt up towards 2:27 from our 2:33. It's a whopping 6 seconds still to be made up on that one. Now we can see there was mistakes made on the previous effort, some errors that we can fix upon. So we're going to go again, we're going to try and be cleaner but also quicker here with a much different tune applied to the Huracan. Starting off very similar once again, downhill as fast as we can possibly carry any speed, and it's literally foot flat to the floor all the way up until that big right-hander, nice and clean through that little gap in the wall just there, and we can see we're already maxing out the speed here, so it does feel like we're getting up to speed a lot quicker. Into our braking zone again, locking this thing up down the gearbox, keeping it off of those walls. We slowed down in time, it felt like a very good entry into that corner, again cutting across nice and early here, round the left-hander, we're a lot cleaner that time out, that's a much better effort. Cut back across the track just here, a little touch on those railings, but we're staying to the right hand side once again through a little gap at the end of the railings here, pushing up into the left-hander once again. Don't mind taking out those railings, I feel like it slows us down adequately for the turn that we do have then. Back down underneath the building once again, nice and tight across the pathway, let the back end flow out, just touching a lamppost there, so there we go. For your bingo cards, we have now taken out a lamppost for today's video. But again, we know what's coming up just here. Pick the right braking zone, the second set of crosswalks, in through the little alleyway with a lot cleaner entry. How do we negotiate around this right-hander? Feels a little bit cleaner once again. It does feel like it is a much better attempt on attempt number 2 for today's video in the Lamborghini Huracan. Are we going to navigate this corner any better? Yeah, we don't lose as much time. It doesn't feel round that right-hander. Bang, back up to power, left-hander, right-hander again, lifting just a little bit. We know the back end did step out there on our last attempt, stepping out a little bit just there. This thing is set up, it's a lot more lively, so I don't mind the back end stepping out all too much as we're getting back up to speed a lot quicker. Again, nice and fast through that section, managing to keep it off of the railings. Are we going to come in too quick again? We do come in a little bit too quick once again into that little section there, but it doesn't feel like we're losing all too much time. How are we going to get round the tree this time out? We actually carry a hell of a lot more speed there. The back end very much stepping out on us, but we've managed to carry a tremendous amount of speed with the Huracan around that big left-hander cutting across the path. And again, it's foot flat to the floor all the way up until that left-hander before we do finish off today's race, almost maxing out the car once again into our braking zone, down that gearbox, a little touch of a handbrake this time out, yeah, get that back end around the left-hander, up through the right-hander, getting the power down nice and early. Feels like a much better exit that time out, crossing the start finish line. Have we managed to improve from the 2:33 that we did just previously set, and we did a 2:31.01. Still 4 seconds to make up on this one, and throughout some of these races I can see the names on the leaderboard. There was a lot of wall riding going on in this race, and it is a big problem. Now, I'm not calling anybody out, I'm not putting anybody on blast, I'm not going to highlight anybody, but there's far too much wall riding going on in this game. I've done videos on it before, and I'll probably be doing videos on this again. If Test Drive wants to be taken as a serious game for racing, which largely it has been about so far, to get these high times on the leaderboard, there's a lot of wall riding, and this needs to be eradicated from the game. This is a huge grey cloud over the races that we have got. Now, I'm not calling out any individuals, but there was one race in particular, and purposely blanked out the name, as I don't need to put anybody on blast. I made a huge error at the start of this race, crashing, but managed to catch up to the back of the Lotus ahead, and we had a fantastic race going on here. I did make yet another error, coming off this section here, bang, clipping that wall, losing the back end of the Huracan. But I did notice this one interesting and horrible thing, the wall riding. There's far too much wall riding going on in this game. We've covered it previously over an Ibiza map. Highway to Heaven in particular, it's awful if that's the way you guys want to race, but for me it just spoils the effort that we put in, the time, the effort that we put into tuning cars, countless hours, building the car the way we want it, to handle the way we want, all for wall riding. And I'm going to highlight why it's so bad in this effort right here. Full throttle all the way down this freeway section, why bother braking? Let's just smash into the wall, drop a couple of gears, lose no time, have very little skill applied to the game. We'll just wall ride, we'll make up all the time we need to make, and we'll jump up to the top of that leaderboard. Why the hell not? Now yet again guys, I'm not calling anybody out, I'm not putting anybody on blast, there's no need for me to do that. Those who wall ride know who wall ride, and many people in the community know who wall ride. I hate it personally, it takes away from the skill and the countless hours that me and many other people high up on that leaderboard, and they are up at the top of that leaderboard, spend tuning their cars, building it for the track specific, all to be wiped out with somebody just smashing into a wall, having no skill for a braking zone or clipping an apex, to just smash into a wall and, you know, have the fastest times. Again, where's the skill effort there? You can argue there's a bit of skill hitting the wall at the right places, yeah. Don't know what the hell is going on with the car there. Some invisible boxes stuck under the car perhaps. But where's the skill? Where's the effort that's involved in wall riding? For me, it is a really big grey cloud on this game, and I know a lot of you guys feel the same. You know, maybe 90, maybe even 95% of the test drive community down in Discord feel the same way. That wall riding is ruining this game. For me, it ruined Forza, and it may potentially ruin the racing aspect that we've got here on Test Drive Unlimited. Now yes, the focus going forward is going to be largely on the deliverable missions that we've got in Season 3, that's fine. But racing is still a huge part of this game, and it's something that has to be addressed from NACON, from KT. This can't go on. It is going to be a big issue going forward as we do make a bit of a mess here. It's going to be interesting what time we do set with the wall riding with all of these mistakes. This is a huge issue that has to be addressed, or it's going to be a big issue going forward. And we come up off the freeway section. Let's just see how quick we come into this section here. Wall riding into that barrier. Where's the fun? Where's the excitement? And yeah, I can understand why people are doing it, but where's the joy of actually smashing into a wall and making these kind of times up? For me, there's just no appeal to this at all. It doesn't bring into any skill craft. We managed a 228, so I still don't even manage to do it well. I obviously haven't mastered the art of wall riding. I'm not going to give any coverage to that kind of time. I don't want that to be a reflection of what I do in game. I want the reflection to be the fact that I spend time tuning the car, countless hours tuning the car, talking with other people in the game, how they've built their car, where they've improved over my tune, where I can perhaps adapt my tunes to what they have done. Had a great conversation with Asa Yunon in the way that she's built her Huracan Performante, taking some knowledge from that, adapting the way I've built mine. That's what I want to see in game, not this absolute nonsense that's here with the wall riding, smashing into a wall at 150 miles per hour, not having to pick out a braking zone, not having to clip an apex, not having to get an optimal turn, and just abusing the dynamic of the game. I hate it. I genuinely hate it. I don't wall ride. I hate it. I don't want to see it in game. What has to change? Does there have to be, you know, restrictions put into the game? Take away walls, or put the world's stickiest super glue on these walls to stop the cars dead in their tracks when it is hit. Now I know it's not going to be applicable for every wall. There's going to be certain walls that, you know, we do clip, we overbrake. That's a consequence of racing. But the wall riding, there's got to be something that has to change in this game. They must have the ability to put something in place, like SARD with the anti-cheat, to stop this wall riding happening. I know it's been a bit of a rant and a ramble in today's video, guys, but it's something I really wanted to make a video on. Hopefully NACON, hopefully KT see this video, and they can really see that it is a massive bugbear and it's a massive issue within the community. Those that are spending countless hours developing their cars, building their tunes, changing the parts to try and make these things the way we need them to be fast on these races. Not smashing into walls, not taking out barriers, not wall riding. For me, it is a huge issue in game. I hope you guys feel the same. If you do, let me know in the comments section. If you want to see it kept in the game equally, let me know in the comments section. Is it just another fun thing that we can do? Please guys, do let me know your thoughts, your takes on this in the comments section. Like again, if NACON and KT see this video, they will also see your comments down below. So please, I would appreciate you guys giving some feedback on this topic down below. Before we leave, as always guys, please do smash up the like button, subscribe, all the usual good stuff. Help me grow the channel as much as I can. We're almost there. It's almost season 3. Looking forward to what's coming. Of course, more releases coming out on Tuesday. I'm going to try and cover that off when they're all released for you guys before we get into season 3 on Wednesday. I hope you've enjoyed today's video. Stay tuned for more updates on Test Drive Unlimited Solar Crown.